Sisters, brothers, and others, welcome to this virtual worship service for the second Sunday in August. My name is Craig Miller. I'm the minister here at Knox United, and it's great to be with you today. This is the second part in our Canadian sacred music sing-along, and you can find the order of worship and the lyrics for our hymns today on our website, knoxunitedbrandon.ca. That's knoxunitedbrandon.ca. And you'll want to go ahead and grab that and have that with you so that you can sing along. And some of you have been sending us photos of the little worship stations that you set up in your homes with your laptop and your candles and sometimes a glass of wine or something for brunch. And maybe you want to send us some videos. Maybe some of the choir members want to sing along and send us some videos.
They could tape themselves, yeah.
They sure could. They sure could. So, because I know you all have your smartphones out there, so you could join right along. Well, grab that order of worship, and then join us for what I think is going to be another very meaningful service. We're singing some of our favorite hymns. You're laughing about
I know, because I said the word tape themselves. That's something my mother would have said, when we were always playing CDs, she was still getting her records out, that's what she called the CD. Was a
right, you didn't grow up with the wax cylinders that... I still have my Sony Walkman that was waterproof for cassettes so that you could wear it and then ski down the hill, and you didn't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Well,
I guess you could. I didn't do that, but... No. So anyway, you can record yourself with your phone, and we'd love to see and hear you singing along with us. All right, that's what I get for ad-libbing. So our service today is entitled "Deep in Our Hearts." Deep in Our Hearts, and it's based on a John Oldham song that we're going to sing in just a little bit. And our song of faith, our statement from the song of faith that accompanies us through worship today is this, and it's on your order of worship. Each part of creation reveals unique aspects of God the Creator, who is both in creation and beyond it. All parts of creation, animate and inanimate, are related. All creation is good. Even Bernie over here.
Thank you.
We sing of the Creator who made humans to live and move and have their being in God. In and with God, we can direct our lives toward right relationship with each other and with God. We can discover our place as one strand in the web of life. We can grow in wisdom and compassion. We can recognize all people as kin. We can accept our mortality and finitude not as a curse, but as a challenge to make our lives and choices matter. Sisters and brothers and others, we're glad that you've joined us for worship. Our rainbow candles are lit, and they remind us of the affirming ministry that we share together. The Christ candle is lit. It reminds us of the light and love of Christ in our lives and in our world. Now may the peace of Christ be with you.
Also with you.
We're going to begin with a hymn by one of our favorite hymn writers. Lena Good's been knocking around the United Church for many decades now. Her life journey is an example of how faith can empower a person to become something bigger and more beautiful than they ever could have imagined. The eldest daughter of an accountant and a librarian, Lena grew up in what she described as a non-religious family. But she got an early start to her music career as a music animator at age 12 in the local church that where she grew up in New Brunswick. She was 12 years old then, and she's hardly looked back since her quest to create more music that is memorable and faithful and socially relevant. 35 years later, and now living in BC, when not working with a school program in India, she has written songs that have become contemporary classics. She's recorded and published 10 albums. She travels to India, where she works with a school that works with children there. While her career journey has taken her down many paths, she's really set a consistent example by challenging people through her music and her stories to ask the hard questions of themselves and to seek authentic joy in their lives. And that's what we're going to sing about, that authentic joy, as we join together in singing Make a Joyful Noise, number 820 in Voices United, a contemporary setting of Psalm 100. You know that our musicians and our choristers at Knox always come with a song, and we look forward to that time when we can be back together with them. You probably noticed I'm joined by some of our musicians today. Bernie and Mindy and Jane and Deanna have been with us over the past several months through Lent and the season of Easter and Pentecost. And then as well today, we have Jim on the drums and Kris on acoustic guitar. And it's wonderful that they're able to be with us and share their gifts. You'll note that we're distancing appropriately. I probably need to get a little bit more distance from Bernie most of the time.
It's when you're talking, you're looking this way, so you got to be careful.
That's right. That's right. There's a Jewish wisdom saying, every blade of grass has its angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. Inspired by that quote, Carrie Wheelander, who currently serves Oasis United Church in Penticton, wrote these lovely lyrics to an old tune found in a book of sacred harmony. The arrangement is by Lena Good. Let's join together in singing number 37 in more voices, Each Blade of Grass. A number of years ago, Lena began to work with Carrie at Ryerson United Church in Vancouver. It was there that one day in a small and informal worship, Carrie prayed this prayer. Or rather, she danced these words, Lena says. It was a prayer with flowing movements that elegantly spoke of God in all things. Like a rock, God is under our feet. Like the starry night sky, God is over our head. Like the sun on the horizon, God is ever before. Like the river runs to ocean, our home is in God evermore. Lena said, I thought to myself, this is a song. So I took it home and chipped away at the words like Michelangelo said he did with the rock until the art emerged whole. Later, when Carrie and I had sung it together, we agreed that this was not just a song, it was an ancient Celtic blessing that we had just written together a short little while ago. Let's sing it as a prayer as we center our hearts as one, and I invite you to do the movements with us. Like a Rock, number 92 in more voices.
Should we do it 3 times through?
Sure, that would be great, 3 times. Next on the list is Deep in Our Hearts by John Oldham and Ron Klusmeyer. The interfaith text of John Oldham's song, Deep in Our Hearts, offers a theme of unity and commonality. It's certainly one of our favorites here at Knox. Ron asked John to write about the origins of the words, and John supplied this background. And Ron used it as part of his In Isolation blog that he published this April. And you can find the link to that because there are other song stories there. You can find the link in your order of worship. John writes about this favorite song. In the 1990s, while serving as a minister with a suburban congregation in South Winnipeg, Manitoba, I became involved in native spirituality circles, sweat lodge ceremonies, fasts, and vision quests. It was my custom to go for long walks in nature, primarily in a park south of our home. I would take my walking stick and other symbols important to me to a location along the LaSalle River where there was a beaver dam. Walking in silence, listening to nature's music and the voice of the Spirit was like meditation. In August 1994, while walking along the river, I received the first 2 verses. I sat at the waterfalls at the beaver dam and offered prayers. I began drumming and singing the first 2 verses, and verse 3 came moments later. It only took about 4 minutes to receive the words. That is 4 minutes plus 49 years. I sent the words to Ron. Nearly 2 years later, in Cambridge, Ontario, he set them to music. That very evening, his church choir was presenting a concert along with guest musician Bruce Harding. Little did we know then what Ron and Spirit had started. In 2005, Deep was part of Ron's anthology concerts. During the Victoria concert, while Deep was being sung, Fred Kahn, who was sitting beside me, placed his hand on my head as we sung it. It felt like a reordination, John writes. Over the years, we've received many messages of appreciation. The title is on a gravestone. The song has been sung at many interfaith gatherings. It has been shared at the International Hymn Society events, as well as worship workshops across Canada and the U.S. It has touched the hearts and spirituality of many kindred spirits, and for this I feel grateful and profoundly blessed. Let's join in singing this wonderful song together, number 154, in more voices, Deep in Our Hearts. One of the things that's wonderful about that song is that John has gifted the church with that, even after a time when I'm sure he felt that he wasn't one with the church. He struggled, I think, a bit as he introduced indigenous spirituality into his life and into his ministry, and it caused some conflict. But that conflict, I think, in many ways was healed as Deep in Our Hearts made its way around Canada, around North America, and around the world. And that's always our hope. We know that conflict is inevitable. It's just a part of being human. But our prayer is always that we share a common vision and that we share a common song. And I think John's life experience and experience in ministry makes that song so much richer for that. Now let's join together in another of our favorites. We frequently sing it on Pride Sunday and throughout the year. My Love Colors Outside the Lines by Gordon Light.
What's the number?
Number 138. In a moment, we'll sing Put Peace into Each Other's Hands. Now we celebrate the life of an honorary Canadian and songwriting collaborator with many of our Canadian hymn writers. Fred Kahn was born in Haarlem in the Netherlands, and his teenage experience of Nazi occupation never left him. His parents were deeply involved in the resistance movement, with weapons hidden under their floor. The deputy German commandant, a secret anti-Nazi, helped to protect them as they successfully hid a young Jewish woman and a political prisoner who had escaped from Belsen. 3 of Fred's grandparents died from starvation shortly before the war's end. Emerging from the war, a committed pacifist, he became interested in faith and began to study theology and psychology. A person with wide sympathies, warmth, and cheeky humor, Fred had gifts that were soon recognized. In the pivotal European year of 1968, he was sent to Geneva as Minister Secretary of the International Congregational Council, with the remit to help unite it with the Presbyterian Alliance to form the World Alliance of Reformed Churches. He served that alliance until 1978, and his work centered on issues of human rights, interchurch relations, and communications. In those 10 years, Fred visited 83 countries. The world was his parish. Yet he wanted to be closer to people, so he returned to England, where he continued to serve the ecumenical community and in parish ministry. He was the foremost of post-Second World War hymn writers, expressing the dreams of an emerging new humanity. His theology reflected a God committed to and immersed in a world crying out to be set free from every form of injustice, and his poetry centered on a Jesus who embraced the whole creation and excluded no one and nothing from his love. Fred's literary productivity alongside his ecumenical commitments remained prolific. Among his many commissions, he composed a hymn for Remembrance Sunday to be sung for the first time in Coventry Cathedral to the stirring tune of O Valiant Hearts, but freeing it of its anachronistic nationalist theology. He wrote, God, as with silent hearts we bring to mind how hate and war diminish humankind, we pause and seek in worship to increase our knowledge of the things that make for peace. Hallow our will, as humbly we recall the lives of those who gave and give their all. In later years, Fred found the freedom to work as a speaker, preacher, and writer, still closely in touch with a global community of friends, especially here in Canada. We recently sang in the season of Pentecost, Wind of Change, which Fred wrote with Ron Klusmeyer. It's a wonderful summation of Fred's faith professed. Come, O Holy Spirit, blow away the cobwebs of our stubborn past. Come, send flying from us myths unfit to last. Wind of change, refresh us and disturb our calm. Teach us what true love is. Take our hearts by storm. In Fred's vision, the dry bones of religion begin to dance. Even with the advancing Alzheimer's of his late years, the spark of what had been was not quite extinguished. He died in 2009 at the age of 80. Let's sing another favorite that he wrote with Ron Klusmeyer, Put Peace into Each Other's Hands, number 173 in More Voices. Now, we could not conclude a hymn sing-along without singing Draw the Circle Wide. It's one of many compositions from singers and songwriters at the Common Cup Company, and it comes to us from their work of the past 4 decades. Their beginnings go back to Winnipeg in 1979 when Ian MacDonald and Jim Ulrich moved to Augustine United Church, forming a team ministry there. And there they met Gordon Light, the neighboring Anglican priest at St. Luke's Church. They discovered that they'd all been writing music and began to play and sing together. Bob Wallace, with his wonderfully rich baritone voice, joined them soon after in 1982. Speaking about their time together, reminiscing in fact recently, they wrote, "At that time, we weren't a group so much as 4 clergy who shared in weekly Bible study and planned fall and Lenten forums which involved our churches in learning, worshiping, and singing together. But our interest in writing and music grew. We found that we both challenged and fed each other. Songs began to flow, and we began to receive invitations to lead worship and sing at ecumenical and denominational events. In one unforgettable moment in 1984, Ian arranged for us to be transported to Melita, Manitoba in a CPR rail car called the Killarney. Linked to the end of a coal train and shunted to a siding in Melita, the Killarney became our home during the Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario Conference meeting. I wonder if some of you were there that year. It was also, the rail car also became a hospitality center with sing-alongs into the wee hours of the morning. Draw the Circle Wide has become another mission and vision statement here for us at Knox. We frequently create a circle around the sanctuary and sing it to conclude our worship time together. One longtime member suggested that we sing it every Sunday. Well, we haven't tried that yet, but we sure do love it. As we sing, let's remember our calling and look forward to a time when we can be back together in this sacred space together to draw the circle wide. Let's remember some of the folks that have accompanied us on the journey, who may still be around or may have gone on to the next part of the journey. And let's think about and reflect on those folks that we maybe need to reach out to, not necessarily to get them here, which so often seems to become the focus of the church, but simply to be in relationship with them and to honor, as we've been singing about throughout these 2 Sundays, the divinity within them. Let's join together in singing this favorite sacred song, number 145, in more voices, Draw the Circle Wide.
Craig, can I just interject
by Gordon
something?
Light. Sure.
Yeah. So I just have to correct you. It's Jim Ulrich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I just felt the need to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jim was the minister here at Central.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And before that, he was the minister at Dan Hartnell Lauder in my home
Nice.
church. Yeah. And the other interesting thing is that 3 of the musicians that you talked about have been here. So Lenny Good was here, and Ron Klusmer has been here several times, and we had Bruce Harding here once, and I don't think any of the other ones have been here at that. But certainly Knox has been well known to them,
Right.
Because we've certainly been
Right.
hosted them a few times.
They actually asked, they did a reunion tour last summer, and they asked to come here, but they wanted to do a Friday night in the middle of June. And I just said to Ian, I said, it's not going to work in Brandon on a Friday night in June.
We would have been here, it's here we are.
Yeah, I think it was also the same time that we had the first annual meeting of the region, which was at the Keystone Center. So the timing didn't work, and they ended up, I think, being in Regina and then in Winnipeg. But yeah, you're exactly right. Knox is always on their list. I'm sure they have friends in the congregation, and I know that many of you probably have either been in congregations that have been ministered to by some of the folks that we've been talking about, and some of you know them certainly much better than I. So we celebrate that relationship and those years of ministry. Were you at that meeting in 1984?
I think I was only a child then.
You were only a child then. But I know that Knox musicians have played for some significant meetings of the Conference of Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario, and had some great times.
We played for several times, didn't we?
Right.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, including last year, just for the
and we
newly
played
formed
in
region.
Thunder Bay when Lydia was ordained.
Morden.
And Morden.
Right.
Yeah.
When Ken Delisle, I think, was ordained. Is that
I
right?
think
As
he was.
diaconal.
I think he was.
I think the first openly gay diaconal minister in the conference.
Was that a Morden?
And maybe in the United Church. Not the first minister, but diaconal maybe. Yeah. Good times. Lots of great music too, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was.
Well, let's join together in singing Draw the Circle Wide, number 145, in more voices. Well, I trust that you know that our live stream services over the past few months and these recorded services in July and August have been a way for us to reach out to you, to draw the circle wide, to stand with you in this changing time, and how good it is for us, even if it's virtually, to be able to be in solidarity together and relationship together. As we conclude our time together, let us commit to sharing our songs of faith, of hope, and of love. Maybe it won't sound quite like what you've heard tonight. Maybe it sounds more like something from Bob Marley or Anne Murray. Whatever that song is, share it. Share it with the world. Share songs which turn ashes into garlands. Share your songs that, like oaks, have roots that go deep and strong. Let us go out into the world singing. We know these songs, they vibrate through us, through time, through our very souls. They're songs that give us life, that give us meaning and purpose. May we sing these songs with voices deep and strong. And may the world join us in praise, in celebration, and love. And may God, who is love, go with us now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
And let us always draw the circle wide.